Alright, y'all, welcome to a special edition of First Listen. It's the early morning edition. You never see the sun out. We always do these on Saturday nights because that's the only time we can normally get together. But about a week ago, David swung by and he brought over the new Deftones album and threw it on the computer. And I hit him up the other day, said, hey, let's do a fucking First Listen. And David can only normally get out during the morning time. And I work second shift, so I don't have to be to work till about 5 hours. So let's fucking talk about this new Deftones album. I have never got into Deftones, and it's not necessarily because of the new metal scene. It's just because they never grabbed my attention when I was younger. But people always tell me, you know, oh dude, it's not even new metal, man, it's better than new metal and blah blah blah. And the only ones I ever heard when me and Stas were moving to our other apartment way back in the day, maybe 2000, maybe 10 years ago.
That's a while ago.
The lady that she worked with who let us borrow her truck, she had White Pony in her CD player, and I didn't know what it was, and I was like, this is pretty cool, whatever this is, and we pulled the CD out and it was White Pony. I was like, damn, that's Deftones, that's kind of cool. And then another buddy of mine let me hear the first two albums, and they kind of just sounded like Korn to me, and so then I just never looked back. But David is the real Deftones fan here. And y'all know David from Chaos and Order, the electronica fucking music project, a good buddy of ours. And he's been on some videos, not many, but some.
The beer one.
Yeah, the beer one. Yeah, and then a long time ago when we filmed you recording in the studio, your little rap song. Your rap. Damn.
That shit.
That's
like,
old.
That was like 4 years ago when I got back here.
Yeah. Yeah.
A while ago.
Damn.
Christmas time.
Damn.
Santa coming down the chimney.
Yeah.
Good times.
So like, when did you first start getting into Deftones and shit?
I got into Deftones probably around 2004, 2005. It was about 10 years after they came out, but you know, I wasn't into metal. I didn't start getting metal till right around high school anyway. So like a buddy of mine, my buddy John, met probably around 2004, and we fucking smoked the fuck out in my car, and he's like, dude, you gotta check it. Of course, White Pony. So he's like, you gotta check it out. So I was stoned as shit, and he puts in White Pony, and my car had subwoofers and everything, so you got the whole sound and everything of it, and it was like, I tripped the fuck out, because it was the shit. I was like, it's one of the best albums I've heard, just because of how well it sounded, even though I was high. But, you know, I listen to it when I'm not high, and, you know, it sounds just as good.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that was my first album I ever listened to, so being I was like, okay, you know, look up more stuff. This was in 2004, so they only had, you know, 2 other albums before that. The Adrenaline and Around the Fur. And I don't know what you're talking about, Korn. You need to go back and listen to them again. I think you're now older. You might have a different feel for it, but I listened to it.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me fucking 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's a totally, because I listened to them actually today just to get like a review on my, you know, what this stuff sounded like, and it was totally different from Korn. I mean, I guess because it was the style.
I just remember the riffs fucking reminding me of Korn, dude. I gotta hear them again.
I think you gotta go back.
I do.
You gotta go way back to 1995 when you know, when the first album came out. And let's say the first album was Adrenaline, though, so like
I was 9 years old.
9 years old. I was, you know, same age. I was 9.
I was busting out the Alanis Morissette. It's like rain on your wedding day.
I was with the country music.
So you were listening to that
When I was
Thunder
like
Road,
9.
huh?
Yeah, actually that was Garth Brooks.
Oh shit.
But yeah, so I listened to Deftones, and then over the years since they've been coming out, I've listened to every album. I've owned actually. I have 5 of their albums, but I think I've owned a few of them and I lost them somewhere.
God.
But I have to rebuy them.
Hearing people say I lost them aggravates a collector
I one time
so much.
all my CDs are in a case.
Huh?
All all my CDs are in a case.
Oh yeah,
Like I never collected the whole like
I always hated.
I don't collect
people.
these things.
I always
that
hated
often.
people shoving them in their CD books. Yeah, it's decent for cars,
Scratches the shit out of them.
Yeah, it scratched the shit out of them. And then I remember a lot of friends of ours would stick the little CD booklet in there with them.
Yeah.
And then like it would like rain in the car or something would spill on their shit. It would just fuck the whole thing up, dude. It used to fuck me. And the CD visors, dude, I remember Stas, man. She had the visors to put them up there, dude.
I had that.
And I remember, man, they were so loose.
Back in my Kia, you remember that shit?
Yeah, dude.
The fucking thing's hanging right there.
But the ones on her old ass Taurus, man, they were so old and loose that if you made hard fucking turns, 4 or 5 CDs are fucking sliding out of that motherfucker.
Like ninja stars and the windows out. That's probably why I lost it. It flew out the window. No, I probably just misplaced it or something. But like, I've heard, you know, I have a whole like they have 8 albums now. This is the 8th album, Gore. Alright, and
what really got me interested into hearing this is a lot of fucking people were like praising it, man, all over fucking Facebook. The Rock Critic fucking dug it, and I'm like, well, you know what? You know, I need to just listen to it. And you brought it over, and I pretty much listened to it all last week. On my way to and from work and shit, and
and you get it.
Yeah, it's much.
I mean, there's a totally different sound to what other bands are coming out with, though.
Yeah, man.
Lately, even the last few years, though, you know, Deftones have always had a certain sound to them, where it was. I think it's Chino, where he's just, you know, he has a certain vocals that other people don't do. Like, it's not a copycat. You can't copy Chino's vocals.
Yeah, and that's something I want to get into. I'm gonna open it. There you go. So I can smoke. Yeah, a thing I like about his vocals is, I wrote it down here. Yeah, I love how melodic and soft his voice will get, but then he'll jump into more paranoid aggression.
Yeah.
That fucking
it's not like a normal scream. That
yeah, it's like
feelings.
Paranoid, and then it's like having a good dream that shifts all of a sudden into a crazy nightmare, but it's a nightmare that you enjoy visiting. Like that's what it kind of just feels like, man. The whole album feels like a dream.
It's really dark. Like it
it's fucking.
The whole album.
It is dark and depressing.
It really is. But it's not like
it doesn't make you feel
depressed.
Yeah,
you get it.
You understand it. You're like, damn, man. You know, this dude's saying some pretty real shit, and you just want to go like this, you know. I feel it, bro.
I've been there. I know it. I feel your tears.
Because it's not like whiny shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It really isn't. Like, I mean, lyrically, you know, Chino has always written that way. Like, even if you go back to the Korn sounding album, you know, you listen to the lyrics though, they're like, you know, they're not, what's the word, they're not something like you'd hear like someone else wrote it. You know, it's something, you could tell that Chino put this on paper and was like, let's put this shit to music and see how it goes. And like how each song on the newest album kind of goes is that it's not sporadic like a lot of the newer stuff that you hear rock albums.
Everything flows.
It does. It flows very well, and it kind of like it's very simple guitar. Like
yeah,
it's
dude.
Nothing
Everything,
over.
Like it is not trying to be anything more than it is.
Right.
I love the very doomy, heavy fucking guitar riffs that it just stays slow and mid fucking tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very fucking doomy, and then the lead guitars are very just dreamy, and instead of trying to be your normal lead shit, it's just there to add another layer to the feeling of the music, and they fucking do it, man. That's fucking great. The drums, nothing too crazy.
They're not flashy, but
yeah,
you know, they're not repetitive either.
Yeah.
So like that's another thing I love about Deftones. You know, if the one thing that you can point out on Deftones is the drum. Like, he always has like this good jazzy kind of like it's nothing
very,
like he's not going into a drum solo. He's not going crazy at double bass like some bands would just go straight double bass and then like slam on some fucking cymbals.
Yeah,
and
it's
done
very
with that. Like,
smooth drumming.
He uses a variation of every single item in his drum kit. Like, I mean, you hear and it's a certain style too. Like that's what I said, jazz style, because you have like the kind of hi-hat cymbals where you're just like and he just kind of goes off with it, and it just works well with like that dark, heavy guitar though that goes out.
Yeah.
And like there's a few songs specifically that I enjoyed more on this album, which is another reason why I like the album, but it's not one of my favorites though. Mainly because of its being so slow. Like, I don't know if I could ever constantly listen to it over and over again just because it's really slow. Like, if I'm just chilling, you know, kind of like, I guess, playing around my phone, I want to listen, or cleaning, because that's what I do nowadays. I'm an adult. I'll put that on because it's something good to have in the background, and, you know, and then if I want to actually, like, get into something with lyrics-wise, you know, I'll definitely check out, because Chino has some of the best lyrics out there today when it comes to writing. Like, he's probably one of the better writers, I think. But, like probably one of my favorite songs on here, just because I'm a big metalhead, is Doomed User. Like,
Doomed User is great, man.
That opening riff where you just
really
have that...
It's really the fastest song on the album, and it's not even that fast.
Second fastest.
Really? Second fastest?
Second fastest. There was... I want to say...
It's one of the last ones, isn't it?
Gore is probably the one...
Yeah, Gore is
the main song of the name of the album is probably like the more ongoing song. Like, it's fast. The drums are sick on it.
And when we say fast, it's not even like fast. It's just
faster.
It's just a little faster than the rest of the album. The album kind of follows this.
Speeds up in the middle, and kind of slows down again.
And that's really what the whole album. You could easily complain, because I will say, toward the last 3 tracks, I started to notice this pattern that it would start off sweet atmospheric intro, sweet atmospheric singing. Everything would be just atmospheric, atmosphere everywhere. Real slow, and then speed up slightly
just towards the end. Kind of picks up a little bit.
Yeah, it picks up just a little bit and then just goes back. Just back and forth throughout the whole album. Every song kind of follows that, and you can easily complain about that.
I think it keeps you listening.
Yeah, on here it feels more like every song is a companion to each other, instead of them being out of ideas by the end of the album. Like, everything feels like it's meant to be there. Like, nothing throws you off guard.
I think,
like, you hear the first track, you know exactly what the album's going to give you.
Yeah, that's definitely, and like I said, there's a few songs that they'll throw in that are kind of like, okay, this is good, like, this is fantastic, because you'll listen to the first 2 songs, and then Doom User comes in, you have this heavy, dark, like, just, I'm gonna murder you kind of song, and then it goes into, what was it, Geometric Headdress, which is a sick lyrically, like, song.
I dig that song.
You know, and that's one of the better songs, I think, too. The one thing, you know, I'm gonna say, the one thing that I found that I hated about the album was at the end of almost every song there's a transition something that pissed me off. Like, the worst one was the second song.
Are you serious? I thought that was cool.
Acid Holograms. Well, it was random.
It was pretty random.
I think that's the thing that it wasn't.
It sounds like
bad.
It sounds like a cassette tape. Fucking
it's
up.
No, it's reverse. It's reverse.
Yeah, there you go.
Like they're rewinding
a fucking cassette tape.
It's like, hold on, let's do this. Yeah. And it was random, and it pissed me off too, because it's just like, what the fuck? And I didn't know what to say to it. Like, you know, I listened to it, and I think it was probably the dumbest part of the whole album. Like, it was literally Like, why did you fucking do that? Like, that has no sense whatsoever. Like, the song has nothing to do with the end of that fucking song. Like, you hear this whole song, you don't get it, and then you hear this reverse kind of sound to go into this heaviness. And I'm like, that's the worst transition I've heard so far in, like, years on
It
an album.
sounds like somebody hit the wrong fucking button in the engineering.
You're like, fuck.
And fucking said, fuck it, leave it in there, man. I'm tired of fucking with this.
It was just... I think... that pissed me off the most about this whole album, was that one part. I just really hated it so much. I was like... I mean, the next song made up for it, though.
Yeah,
like, it's like decent song, kind of slow, very ambiance, you know, very atmospheric, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I can forget about that part because the next song's fucking amazing.
When I first heard that, I'm listening to the song, I'm getting into it, then I hear that shit, and I was like, what the fuck? That was kind of cool. Alright, whatever.
It was different, but it had... My thing was, like, it's cool, but it made no sense. Like, it made no sense. Like, if I was stoned listening to this song, I would have been even more pissed. Because it would have probably been like, you just ruined it for me. And then I get in the next song, I'm like, okay, I forgive you. like it's forgive and forget kind of thing.
You know, another thing I do like about the feeling of this album is that with it being so soft and fairly paranoid, I like that it feels like the album has a darkness that it's struggling to keep within, and it slightly lets a little bit of that darkness out. It kind of feels like the album is almost human, where we always kind of try to keep our
feelings in and stuff.
Yeah,
and just kind of explode it out for a minute and then reverse that.
Yeah, that's what the album really kind of feels like in the music, definitely the lyrics.
It's what, 11 songs?
Yeah, I think so, 11 or 12, some shit like that.
11 songs. I mean, there's a few like, it's all about. I don't think, like, a Deftones fan, someone like me, like I'm like I said, I'm a huge Deftones fan, and I've heard every album multiple times. I think that this is the middle album. Like, if I were to put it in a point of the 8 albums that they've created, it would be probably like number 5. Mainly because of how slow it starts.
Like your 5th favorite?
There's 8 albums, so it would be like, yeah, it would be like the 5th favorite album of, like, it's not the worst album because it's so different. I think, to me, as a Deftones fan, you know, I like their stuff. I think actually anything past the White Pony album were actually one of my favorites. Like, a lot of people would fight me on it. They would be like, you know, Around the Fur or Adrenaline was probably, like, you know, fantastic. And then White Pony is obviously the best one. Like, it really is. White Pony is the most creativity, I think, when it came to being... It had more togetherness to it. It made more sense. Each song was different, but you still got the sense of one whole album. And it was... I think it was better written than this one, specifically. But... You know, I wrote down, like, you know, which one's my favorite up to this one. So, like, it happens to be, like, most of the newer albums. Like, White Pony would be number 1, and then a few years ago, back in 2010, Diamond Eyes came out, and I loved it because it was fucking heavy. Like, you know, I'm a metalhead before anything else. So it had the heaviest songs I think the Deftones have done have been on Diamond Eyes, or most of the heaviest songs. Like, just. It was all together, like it was more of a... Diamond Eyes had more of a Tool feeling than anything. Because, you know, they had the drums and the guitar, there's solos in there, and then there's just this dark... It wasn't, like, boring at all. It's probably my second favorite. And then, a lot of people would not agree with me on this one, but my top third, though, would be the self-titled. It had more of the popular songs on it, too, and there was more promoted. But it was the worst selling album they've ever had. But I like the style that they had back then, too. Back in that, I think that came out in 2006. I know I wrote that down too. No, I'm way back. 2003. They did one every 3 or 4 years. So 2003, and then Saturday Night Wrist had the fucking. I love Saturday Night Wrist because it had the fucking Pink Cell Phone song, which everyone hates the song. Google it. Like, everyone hates this song because it's just this random fucking, like, this techno-y kind of, what is it? Trance song, like in music in the background with words being spoken by a female. But it gets into, like, this woman who's talking about pussy and vagina and, like, bloody fucking spikes and dildos. And, I mean, it's fucking crazy sounding. It's called Pink Cell Phone. And it's all about, like, she's like, bloody cunt, bitch, vagina. Like, just random shit. But I loved it because it was so different. I was like, what? Like, I remember that album, the first time I heard that song. Because right before that, you had Rats, Rats, Rats. Which was this heavy, like, Chino's just fucking screaming on it. Like, the entire song, he's just yelling at it. And then you hear that, like, the entire, like, drum set, right? And you have this kind of, and this woman starts speaking, she's like, I go to the school, and I don't remember the words to it, but, like, she's just talking, and then it turns into, like, it goes from that, and then it changes in the middle of the song into this whole fucking her shit, like, shit, funk, don't fuck, like, just random Tourette's. Like, it's a fucking fantastic way that's just, like, what the fuck that I just listened to. But then the album goes back into this heavy, like, the rest of the songs kind of just go back into this heavy, you know, sound. I mean, I love that album. And then I think Gore would be the number 5. Like, it would be my metal man. Like, just because of how different sounding it sounds to any Deftones album there is out there. They tried doing it on their last album a little bit. Koi no Yoken or Yokon or something. Some Japanese thing.
Damn.
Chinese thing. I don't know.
See, I know jack shit about that. I just know one of them died a couple years ago.
Yeah, and that's what you can tell a difference because, like, after he died in 2013, his name was Chi, the bassist. He got in a car wreck in 2008 and then was in a coma for 5 years.
Damn, that's
and
what
then they pulled the plug on him in 2013.
Damn.
So yeah, he was in like a really bad wreck and he was in a coma forever. And in between that time, they wrote Diamond Eyes and Koi no Yoken, and they were in the middle of an album called Arrows that never made it. They just stopped production of that one because I think in honor of the bassist, I don't know if they may or may not go back to it. Like, who knows? Maybe they just took those songs that were on there and just put them on the albums. I don't know.
But this actually makes me want to check out a lot of Deftones. But look at this art real quick. The cover is just a bunch of birds. But I like this. Alright, that right there, that is exactly what the album sounds like.
Sunset.
But what I hate is
Fucking
the
sunset.
spine fucks this picture up, man. They couldn't fucking get
Fill
the
it in.
rest of that in there. I've seen fucking digipacks that have a full picture. Why did they have to fucking... Basically, you have an ass crack in the goddamn sunset there.
But you could put like this poeticness in between it, though. It's the crack that splits the mind into... That would also face the album. Because the album is double-sided, I think. Like, you have this whole... Like, one side is like a darker... And then right in the middle, it just kind of splits the mind, I think, is how you kind of think about it. Like, I pictured a guy in a fucking padded room, kind of like screaming at people during his little yelling parts, and then just kind of going back into his whole, I guess, of a self. Like you were saying, you know, it was kind of like how your inner feelings. But, like, you kind of can picture a guy in a fucking straight jacket. And, I mean, the one thing, like I said, the whole bird thing kind of threw me off, because honestly,
Yeah,
never
man,
noticed.
you would not...
I thought it was fucking thorns or some shit. I was like, oh, they're just birds. Like, you just said that, I was like, there's birds on there?
That's such a different kind of album cover for a sort of band like this.
And then
you
the
know.
fucking, it's just pink. It's like a violet. Like a light, pinkish white color. I mean, it reminds me of perfume.
Yeah,
like
dude.
what you would made of perfume. Like, I think artistically,
Gore by Chardonnay.
right? That's what it looks like. Like, especially, like, hold on, like this. Like, that's all you see is gore. I mean, like,
Gore by Chanel.
Bacino.
Yeah, there you go.
Gore Bacino. But like,
shit.
as much as I'm a big fan of putting your lyrics in your books, they didn't do anything with it. It's blank. It's just there's lyrics, and every side it's lyrics, white, pink.
See, my thing is
pink.
like, all right, lyrics are fine. I used to hate it when I was younger, but now I don't really give a shit if the lyrics are in there, especially because I can go online and find them. But I need something cool to look at. If it's got lyrics, I still need something, like you were just saying, I need something cool to look at.
I want something to look at, that's cool.
Give me at least pictures of the band. I mean, that is, the worst ones is a picture of the studio, picture of the band in the studios, or just pictures of the band. Those are the worst, but at least give me that if you're not going to give me anything at all. But that right there, with the art of the album being so minimalist, the music of the album makes up for it.
It does.
Highly.
It definitely, it definitely, like, it's a totally different feeling from their other stuff, because it's very slow, and then, like we said, it's very...
My alarm that wakes me up in the day.
You just randomly fall asleep.
Well, no, man, I fucking, you know, it's for when I need to wake up. I mean, that's what alarms are for.
But it keeps going off. Like, you need to wake up every 5 minutes.
Well, some days, dude, I'll be up at like 9 o'clock and I'm like fucking ready to go. Then other days, I'm so fucking tired, I'll be like, fuck, it's 10 o'clock, fuck this shit, I'm going back to sleep. Fuck this shit, I'm going back to sleep. Fuck this shit, I'm going back. What really fucks me up is, like, let's say I have the alarm also set for Saturdays, just in case I gotta work on a Saturday. And like, let's say I'll forget that it's fucking there, and I'll be at like Second and Charles or something, scrolling through the CDs.
And something to remind you to look at your phone.
You know, it'll be so quiet in there, dude. I'm fucking looking at the CDs. Fuck, man. Sorry.
A reminder of your technology.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite song? Like, did you find a song
I think my
there?
favorite one, dude, I mean, I like them all, man. Because the album...
go-to song, I think.
It has a very, I'm going to go ahead and just give my final thoughts with that. I like that the album has a very doomy shoegaze vibe. It's very fucking atmospheric and ambient and heavy when it needs to be. But yeah, my go-to songs would be that El Mural.
Really?
El Mural, Gore, and Doomed User. I mean, to me, the whole album sort of just sounds the same, you know? So it's like, those are the ones that stuck out to me the most. Yeah, dude, I thought it was kind of cool.
I thought that picked as the worst song on the album.
Really?
It was plain and boring, and there was nothing special about the song to me. Like, I went through it, like I said, I listened to this album, and I was like, out of every song, that was the worst one. It was
but nah, dude, it has
dull.
great atmosphere. That fucking intro was haunting.
It has a decent intro, but the song itself played, like, if you, like, the whole, 4 minutes of the song, it's boring. Like, compared to every other song on there,
it
had
boring.
the least amount of anything there. I mean, it was a basic song. I mean, it was like, to me, it felt like a filler. Like, it was just kind of like, let's just put this in there.
I actually don't feel like there's any filler on here.
I think, I mean, you have different opinions, but...
Oh, I really like Xenon.
Xenon
is the shit.
I liked, it had a good... To me, it had a grungy feel, like a 90s kind of... Like,
that was another thing, dude. This album reminds me... A lot of the stuff on this album reminds me of late 90s or early 2000s, but not the shitty side of it. Like, it reminds me of that slight time in between, like, 99 and 2000 when the musical landscape was trying to figure out what the next decade was going to sound like. And a lot of the good stuff kind of got put on the back burner for bullshit. And this kind of reminds me of a lot of that good stuff that got put on the back burner. But
like, if we're gonna, so
my final thoughts is definitely check it out. I was never a Deftones fan. I never really checked them out, and this album has me wanting to check them out. It's interesting. It's fucking atmospheric. Everything that I've just said. I fucking say, check out Gore. Definitely. It might be on one of my top albums. We'll find out at the end of the year.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Could Travis put a fucking Deftones?
Who would have known?
Who'd have thunk it?
Right. So closing thoughts on it. Gore, like I said earlier, Gore is not my favorite Deftones album. Being a huge Deftones fan, I've heard every album by them, but it definitely is the middle. It's the top 5. I liked the darkness of the album. I liked how certain songs were extremely heavy, and then they kind of went light on the actual songs. There, like I said, Merle is, to me, it's not a terrible song. Like, it's not like a bad song. Like, none of the songs on here are like, this is terrible, I can't listen to it. But it's my track skipper. Like, it's the one song on the album where I'll listen to once and then be like, alright, I'm bored with you. Like, I'll be halfway through it and be like, alright, next. So, I mean, it's not a terrible song, it's just dull to me. Like, there was nothing really done with it. But I loved how they ended the album. Like, I think that last song kind of pulls every style that they did in every song together.
Yeah.
And it was just a good song to end the album, you know. And then, like, I think each song has its own type of favoritism to it. Like, what did I like about the song? You know, like, what was that? Pittura Infamante.
Yeah.
You know, which has a weird fucking name. I have no idea what that means.
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
It's like Latin or some shit. But that had a good technical style guitar in it. And then, like, Hearts and Wires, which is actually one of the singles of the album, you know, I liked it because it had good flow. The whole entire song was just good flow. It had good chorus. It had good riffs. It had a good, like, the jazzy kind of feeling of the drums. You know, that was a good go-to song. Like, if I want to listen to a song on there, I'd pick that one to go to. And like I said, like, Gore was heavy as shit, and, like, the drums are fucking sick on it. And so overall, though, you know, I enjoyed the album. I think that Gore is definitely, for people who aren't Deftones fans, a good starting point. Like, it really is, like, the last album of the 8 albums that they have. Gore is a good starting point for people who've, like, never really checked out Deftones.
And, like, another thing too is I can imagine a lot of people not checking out Deftones because, like, could you even really call Deftones nu metal?
They're not.
I can't.
I mean, there's not, like, they don't rap any of their songs for.
Well, I mean, you don't have to rap for
it's
it to
not
be nu metal.
They're not simple enough. I think you really have, like, they're too technical to be a nu metal band. So, like,
so could they just be one of those bands that came out around the nu metal time? That sort of, like say, for System of a Down.
Like, they didn't fall off like some people.
Well, that too, but they're ones that just kind of got lumped in that category because their sound was slightly similar, or their themes were slightly similar to what the more popular guys were doing at the time. I mean, because people will lump System of a Down and nu metal, and to me, they are fucking like circus prog metal, you know? I mean, fucking people will lump... now, I will say, Static X did get a little nu metal-y on their second fucking album, which to me is nowhere near as good as Wisconsin Death Trip. But,
Wisconsin Death Trip. Their newer stuff got really, like...
Because there was, like, 2 sides of nu metal, man. There was the heavy rap rock side, and then there was just then there was your Stains, your ones that didn't rap, but their riffs...
Stain was not nu metal.
Dude, yeah, man.
I don't think Stained was nu metal.
Stained was like fucking...
I think I would compare Stained to more Nickelback than anything. Like,
Stained was the Nickelback of nu metal.
You think so?
Yeah.
They were the popular metal. Like, they were the band
they
to
were
go
fucking,
to.
dude. Because you had...
They want to hear It's Been a While on the radio 8 million times.
Because you had fucking...
It's been a while.
Who else, dude? Most of the people on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. Alright, Disturbed. They didn't rap. But they were fucking...
I don't know how they're nu metal, though, because I've listened
those riffs, dude. Those riffs. That style of riffage.
They're more power metal.
That style of power metal. I'm
not a huge...
I don't really like...
If we're going to talk about Disturbed, I will tell you this much, okay? Musically, Disturbed is talented.
Musically, I love their drummer. Their fucking drummer
is sick.
Follows the beats and musical notes. And he doesn't play a straight fucking beat. So when I'm listening to a Disturbed song, man, I'm like, God, man, these motherfuckers are pretty fucking good. But damn, I just cannot get into old buddy's vocals. Yeah.
I think it's because, like, he has...
whatever the fuck he's doing.
That was like probably the one thing that.
And I don't even think he does that shit anymore because I'm hearing that everybody's raving about their cover of. And I will say they do decent covers. I like their version of Shout. I don't like that one too much. They do it justice.
It's not horrible.
I still love the Simon and Garfunkel.
I like the Boba Flex one that came out last year or the year before last.
I don't even think I've ever heard that.
It's pretty good actually.
Because like to me, man,
it's been overdone though. The song's overcovered.
Yeah.
There's been a few why didn't we just hear this one like a metal band do this?
Their version of Land of Confusion was decent. I still like the Genesis version way better. Their version was decent. It was passable.
I listened to the newest album, Disturbed, and I hate Disturbed because of his vocals. Like the first albums, you know, like the whole Down with the Sickness, it was one of those things that was like, okay, it's catchy. Like the Down with the Sickness song, the ooh wah thing, it was catchy, you know. But I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was good for its time. I think for
Drowning Pool was new metal.
I love the first Drowning Pool.
Man, dude, I love the first Drowning Pool.
I love it.
But it is such a fucking cheap ass kind of.
It was.
It has cheap ass writing. Yeah, it was fun.
It was a fun album.
But the writing was so cheap, dude, because it felt like it
was a headbang album. Like it's one of those things you're trying to get.
The lyrics, man,
like
the
cool
song
with.
titles, the album title. It's like they were sitting around. All right, man, we got to write a metal album, dude. What is
bodies
metal?
on the floor.
Yeah, man, dead bodies, dude. Let the bodies hit the floor. All right. What else is metal, man?
I get
Sinners, dude. The Sinners. All right. Well, what can we say about Sinners that makes it metal?
But he had
be happy that you're a sinner. Raise your hand, you're a sinner. And I do like the song. I like the fucking album.
I like his vocals on it.
But
like,
his vocals are pretty good.
The new stuff though is terrible.
The only new shit I heard after he fucking died was when they remade Let the Bodies Hit the Floor.
Oh, that was terrible too.
That was god fucking awful.
So they took the singer from Soil.
That's where he came from?
That's where the singer's
fucking
from.
Soil.
He's the singer of Soil.
God.
And I liked one album by Soil that came out back in like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. And I was like, okay. And then I heard the new Drowning Pool.
They did the Halo song, right? You're my little Halo.
I think so, yeah. But that was...
they suck so bad.
They're not that... I don't listen to them too much.
They were like that bridge between shitty wannabe grunge like Puddle of Mud and really just generic ass fucking post new metal shit. They were like the Evanescence of male singer bands to me.
No.
Yes.
They were...
And who was that other band that fucking was popular that did that fucking song with her that was so popular? And I'm broken.
Oh, Seether.
Seether. God, I fucking hate Seether, dude. Dude, yeah, man. Like, they are... Soil was the Evanescence and Seether of the Evanescence and Seether.
They've gotten better.
I don't fucking... I do not care to know.
I'm a Seether fan, okay? I'm a Seether... The last two albums have been...
Davids.
The last two albums of Seether, because I listen for vocals, and the guy sings. He could sing. He's not a horrible vocalist. Okay, and like the last album that came out that Seether did, I liked because it was heavy. Like I said, I listened for the heaviness of a band. If it's a shitty band,
I didn't even know they were still doing anything.
They still
after 2007.
But I keep up with all kinds of rock though. Like
shit.
I don't like. There's some things that you'll listen to that I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
there's a lot of shit that I listen to. You're like, what the fuck, Travis?
What the fuck is this?
What the fuck?
But I mean, like but I'll listen to it. You know, I don't just say, okay, this band sucked back in like 2005, and I'll never touch them again. I mean, I'll still listen to it. And I'm like, when was this? I was like, I've never heard of this band before. Oh, they haven't made an album since 2007. Well, that's because they suck, Travis. like, obviously someone's doing something right. Look, Seether sucks, but they have millions of dollars and they're still making albums. But this band's great. But they're not making albums anymore, and no one died. They just stopped making shitty music. So
I would rather have one really great album
than 12 different ones that have one or two good songs.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I get that.
Like take Five Finger Death Punch now.
I know.
What is?
We're not gonna get there. We've been hearing don't go into it.
They are the Nickelback of metal, and I love that.
Was that Charlie said that shit?
Yeah, Charlie fucking said it. I love that shit, dude. I'm like, oh my god, they are, dude. Because like every person that's ever come up to me that says they like Five Finger Death Punch, excluding you, because you said you liked a couple songs.
I liked their first album, and I will truly admit, I loved the first album. I mean, it came out during bad relationship time, cut my thing off. But it was such a good album. Like everything about that album should have been what Five Finger Death Punch should have gone to, but instead they did a Nickelback. Their second album on, they're like, what's popular? What can I get money off of? And a part of that, I'm pretty sure, is the producers and like the record company.
What's even funnier
is now they're being sued.
Yeah, they're being sued, and the record label is saying basically that you're selling out and you're only in it for the money. Well, isn't that technically what the major labels are about? What are they complaining for? That label's getting their money.
That's the thing, though. They're suing them because
they haven't made their other album yet, or whatever.
They're trying to rush their album because they want to get the contract over with.
So that's even dumber. If they're complaining that Five Finger Death Punch is in it for the money and they're trying to cash in on shit, isn't rushing the album doing that exact same thing?
Yeah, they're going against contract because they're supposed to come out with a new album every 9 months.
That's ridiculous.
Like they can't write anything new. According to them, they can't write anything new until the 9 months after the last album came out. According to what I read. So like, and that's the thing, like, I'm hoping, because Ivan Moody or whatever, the fucking singer, is an alcoholic or drug addict or some shit. And he's been in like rehab for the last few months. And he's in rehab now or something like that. And like, it's pretty much like, I'm just bored. They're not bad. Like, talented? Yes. The whole band is talented. Ivan Moody has points where it's like, you could do better. Like me, no one remembers Moto Grader, which is like a band that was popular in like 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. But like, that's one of my favorite bands. But he left to make Five Finger Death Punch, which is terrible. It's a terrible name, by the way.
Yeah, because to me, when I first heard them, I was like, if you're going to have a name like Five Finger Death Punch, you better kick some ass. But it sounded horribly generic to me.
Well, like I said, the first album actually had creativity to it, and it wasn't repetitive, and it's something I can always go back to and listen to, because that's when they were good. And now everything feels like, okay, we get it. You're the veterans, you're the military metal band. You're the band that military people and veterans were like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to you because you're patriotic, and you talk about the sandbox. I'm like
it's everyone that I know that had told me that they like Five Finger Death Punch, they're always those bro dudes, and they're the same guys who, like, when I was growing up, they were the same type of guys who always thought Metallica was the heaviest thing they'd ever heard. They love Nickelback. They fucking love Puddle of Mud. They think that shit's heavy. It's people that I normally don't associate with because it's hard to have an intelligent musical conversation with a lot of those people. And if you guys listen to those guys and you think they're cool, that's totally fine. But the ones that I have met and have been around, it's like,
Five Finger Raw.
It's like, yeah, dude, I listen to heavy metal, man. I love heavy metal, dude. Man, Five Finger Death Punch is my favorite shit out there, dude.
And Metallica's Saint Anger.
I'm like,
Metallica's Saint Anger album. That was the best album yet. No.
I'm like,
too early.
Yeah. Well, you and I have absolutely nothing to talk about. Like, I'll never forget, dude. It's like they're the same dudes who get into their fantasy football. And it's fantasy football metal, man.
Fantasy football metal? I guess. Yeah.
But shit.
So anyway, Deftones sounds nothing like that.
Yeah, Deftones sound nothing like that so far. I gotta hear those first two again, because I remember them sounding like Korn.
I think if you go back and actually listen to them...
Yeah, now that I'm 30 years old and I'm not like 14 and like hating everything...
No, you're no longer a music douche.
Yeah, I'm no longer a music douche.
People are like, I don't like this band. Well, why not? because they suck in their new metal. They were processed as new metal, so I'm no longer gonna listen to them. And like,
but there is shit that I will fucking be snobbish about. Like, I will bitch about Evanescence. I will bitch about Seether. Even if they are fucking good today, I give no shits because they didn't fucking grab my attention. The only attention they grabbed was me being like, this sucks.
Yeah, there were still like bands out there.
But I'm not gonna hate a person for liking it. I will hate the band, but I won't hate the person. Because, you know, like we've said,
you don't hate me.
I listen to a lot of dumbass shit. I listen to a lot of dumbass shit. And I can admit that. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, you listen to Five Finger Death Punch? You're a dumbass. I'm never gonna say that to a person. I'll say you wasted your money if you bought it. But I'm not gonna say you're an idiot for buying it. You wasted your fucking... But you only wasted $10. What else could that have bought you?
Cigarettes.
McDonald's, cigarettes, beer?
I would rather buy beer than a Five Finger Death Punch album now. But like I said, so I'm 30 years old. So being older, I've listened to bands I wouldn't have listened to 10 years ago. And like there are bands that you've introduced to me that I listen to now that I wouldn't have listened to 10 years ago. It's just because as the bands have grown, so have I. And I think that's why I still listen to certain like Seether and
well, when it comes to that, dude, it's because you were like growing up with it and you want to see what they're doing today.
Right.
Because I'm the same way with a lot of the shit that I grew up with, which is why I still buy anything Rob Zombie does, which is why I still buy anything Marilyn Manson does, Primus, fucking the shit that I grew up with, I'm still gonna follow. And like that's what's good about it. Is like, you know, it's what stuck with you. Mm-hmm. And so you want to see what they're up to, man. It's like calling an old friend that you hadn't seen in a couple years, just to see what the fuck they're up to.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing. Like that's another reason why I bought the Gore album. I think this Deftones album was like, you know, Deftones coming out with like their last album. Like I said, the Kui no Yukon, I listened to once or twice because I got it on MP3s or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I've listened to it, but I never really got into that album per se. It's not a bad album. It's pretty good. Probably it has a few songs on there I like a lot, but it wasn't like one of those albums that caught my attention so much. And I think, like I said, you're starting at the top, the newest album, and don't go all the way back to Adrenaline right away or Around the Fur. Go backwards. I think this, you can see the progression up from the beginning, and I think you would have a better appreciation and liking to the actual band itself and maybe become an actual fan if you start from this album and then go back each album. Because like I said, one of my favorite albums though is Diamond Eyes. This came out 6 years ago. And because it's heavy, it has their older style of music, but it's new. It's right I think right at the change. And I think they wrote the Diamond Eyes album mainly because of their bassist. Like, you could tell there's a lot of fucking just anger in this album. And it had it's more respectful. And like I said, it can pull out anything from the White Pony album where they just have like this druggy kind of feel to it. And then they have this heaviness that, you know, you'll hear from Korn, I guess. But talent-wise, they're more talented than Korn.
Yeah.
I think I can definitely say...
Yeah.
When it comes to playing, like, I like Korn. I'm a big Korn fan as well. You know, I've been a fan since the beginning. I've been a fan since the beginning.
I'm a big Korn fan.
Except for their middle shit.
Of their first 3 albums.
Their first 3 albums were fantastic. And then, like, you don't like it. I know you don't. But I'm a big fan. I like the Untouchables album.
I like things about that album, man.
It was their album that was different from the last 3.
Yeah, I like that it fucking tried something different. It's very atmospheric. It's got a dark fucking feel to the music, and I like his vocals on that album. But
it didn't sound like their other stuff though to me. And
it's fucking
the worst. Like Korn has a terrible album. They do. They
have a lot of terrible albums. Take a look in the mirror. Fucking that shit.
It had
sucks.
a few.
I like
songs
Y'all Want
on
a
it.
Single, and that's it.
It had a few songs on it that I actually really liked, and It wasn't that bad.
I
Their
fucking
worst album.
hate the one with Twisted Transistor.
That is the worst.
That is
album
garbage
ever. And the one after that was
garbage.
terrible. Just
The one, yeah, the one was Untitled is garbage.
Yep, and those two are the worst albums I've heard. Like, I will not support those two at all. Like, I'm like, those aren't Korn albums. Those are like, hey, look, you're paying me to make an album. Here's something. Here's crap.
And the last one that I grabbed is that The Path of Totality, their dubstep record. And that one, it's not a good dubstep album. And it's not a good Korn album. But at the same time, it's the most interesting Korn album in a long time. And it's decent
Since the
dubstep.
Untouchables album.
Yeah, it's the best Korn it ever sounded in a long time, but it's not saying much. But I can dig it, but at the same time I'm like, I have not listened to it in maybe 4 years or so.
I was in Iraq in 2010, and they came out with Korn 3.
See, that's the one I hadn't heard. Everybody says that one's good.
Korn 3 is the closest to the first 3 albums that you'll get to within the last 10 years. Like, it is literally that one album, because it's produced by the same guy who did the first 3 albums.
That last one they did after the dubstep album.
I forgot about it. It's not.
It was better.
It's boring.
The only thing it had going for it was that Head was back.
Yep. It was the
when I turned it on, I was like hearing Head's style of guitar, and I was like, okay, this is what they have been missing for all these fucking years, is his weird fucking noise that he makes. And like, I was like, okay, this sounds pretty fucking close to the old shit, but also doesn't do much for me. But the battery is about to die, so
go get it.
Fucking get that shit.
Go get it. It's fucking worth the whole. I think I paid $8.99 for this. Free shipping.
That's all right.
So $10 maybe.